So I'm just starting this now. Don't think anybody's going to join, but it's just a way to kind of film a video and have it immediately uploaded without like any editing or filming and like reshooting. So I don't know if anybody does show up, I can talk to them. But like I said, just pretty much just going to be a download of my summer. Thus, no, just my summer. So the reason I'm posting this on this channel as opposed to I have like four channels that kind of go over my different interests for YouTube. This is like the psychological, personality, psychology, personality typology channel. So I'm posting this here because it's mental health adjacent or related or whatever. Personality psychology, personality typology. I'm just trying to go over just what I experienced going through like the mental health care system in the United States, and I suspect it's this bad everywhere on the planet, if not worse, most places. So, um, where to start? So, you start off kind of with this stuff as I did as a youth, like as a child, not even young adult yet, but just my mom putting me in therapy sessions, which were bullshit. I mean, you keep giving these things chances. Um, first off, because you're a kid and you're just doing what your parents tell you to do. When you keep like trying again as an adult, just giving it a chance, like, and still like starting off as a kid, not thinking I needed it, going into adulthood, never really needed, just kind of following, what doctors and people are prescribing or suggesting I do, and then, just like where does this start to kick in? I'm having conversations with these people, and there's no like goal, there's no like deliverable metric that they like to decide on. You just chat with somebody for a half hour about whatever, and then you get paid and you leave and come back. It's like I could do this with anybody. This is not helpful or useful or valuable use of my time. Fast forward, let's say to 2015. This is the stuff that this channel is kind of turning into, like the ESFP stuff, the fucking artistic athlete stuff. Like, this is coming off of, 2 years at like a very challenging academic institution, namely MIT, where I don't have the ability to really pursue basketball the way I wanted to, or at least be an athlete or an artist the way that I should be doing it. Like, yeah, there's opportunities. There's varsity athletics. There's clubs for improv and comedy and stuff. And you know that, but like your rest of your day, you're an MIT student trying to become an engineer, scientist, man, entrepreneur, businessman, whatever. So and I'm saying like, oh yeah, that's 2 years of that, but like not to mention like, I can rant on this, not even just rant on this, but just mention this, like education is fucked. There's no value there. There's no value being added to kids' lives by being stuck in school, taking tests, sitting down, raising their hands. What is that preparing you for? There's no job that you're sitting in a room with like 10, 20 other people around your age. No, excuse me. Most of the time, like within 2 or 3 years of you, definitely most of them are like your age. Um, and you're turning facing this person who's telling you shit, and they're just telling you shit, and you just get quizzed every couple weeks, quiz really hard every month or two, and then like quiz really fucking hard, like twice a year, once a year, whatever. Like that translates to precisely jack shit real world experience, real world skills. That's useless. So what's happening is when you throw kids into school, which everybody goes to, you're just wasting their childhoods. Not to say like they should be playing, not to say no, they could be developing useful skills that they need to be a functioning adult in society. But instead, what we do is just throw them in school and educate them, which is nothing. It's just you're teaching them factoids. You're developing high level trivia players. That's it. That's all. It's just trivia because it doesn't actually. Not only does the information they're quizzing you on not fucking matter, and like I'm saying this, having graduated from the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, and I'm like, yeah, that was hard as fuck and utterly useless. Not just that, but everything that I had to do to get into that, and fucking Like every school I went to is just the same bullshit from maybe, yeah, I'll include preschool, kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, high school, college, undergraduate degree. I mean, that's most of my time and energy last 28 years down the toilet. Like I got jack shit out of that, and I don't remember any of it. Um, Next to none. I can still like do calculus, but no, I can't do calculus. What I can do is I can like derive just kind of the basic. Like if you're trying to figure out how to take a derivative, I can like explain that on a graph. But like, okay, cool. Like, and also on the subject of calculus, AP calculus, right? You need to do this to be an engineer, and you do this to be a scientist. Make sure. Nope, nope. I've engineered shit. I've science shit. Not a lick of calculus. None. And people stressing out about, oh, my fucking I got to get my calculus tutor. And it's like, yeah, well, you need to have this on the AP. It's all of it's bullshit. I've gone through all this stuff. I got through all of it pretty easily up to like, part of college. And looking back on it, couldn't have been my fault because I went into my sophomore year of MIT with a perfect 5.0 GPA, all A's in all my second semester classes of my freshman year because it's past no record on the first semester. And I got bodied just by like the intro engineering class for aerospace engineering. And there's no reason I should have been expecting that, there's no reason that should have happened. This is all once again leading up to explaining 2015 psychiatric hospitalization, mental health hospitalization. All three of which, by the way, I initiated myself because I was like, I think I'm in a bad place. Hey, can you guys help me? And they said yes, and they didn't. And I said, bad place a second time. You guys are supposed to handle this shit, right? I feel unsafe. Can you help me? And they said yes, and they didn't. And then the third time, that one was just crazy. I didn't even ask for help, and I just ended up in that space through a series of unfortunate events. Shout out Lemony Snicket. What's I don't know what the person's name is. Anyway, Lemony Snicket. I don't remember. Regardless, where are we? So yeah, you got that. So it's like, okay, that doesn't make any sense. I got all A's, and I cannot learn thermodynamics now. A field of study, a discipline. Once again, this is still just like the academic bullshit stuff that I'm still taking seriously at this point. So I'm still like, oh, I need to do this to be an aerospace engineer, whatever. Even though I wanted to be a biological engineer going into MIT, and then I'm just switching around. I'm like, no, okay, maybe I'm just still figuring this out. So, I mean, that shit throws your head for a loop. It's like, wait a minute. On what fucking planet do you get like 4 A's and then a B/C with more effort on the B/C? I got A's in every single prerequisite and the co-requisite that you needed to, be in the intro aerospace engineering class. I had already aced every pre and co-requisite required that class, and I could not learn thermodynamics at MIT, even though I'd already learned it in high school. Because that's the thing, like the teachers don't get any better. They probably get worse because they're teaching and they're doing research and they're applying for grants. It's like they're being like pulled in 3-4 directions at once. So why the fuck would they give any fucking attention or whatever? Like, it's not, you don't get better at MIT, you don't get better classrooms, you don't get better resources. You just fucking get worse. You feel worse about yourself, probably, is the main thing people get out of that. Because I mean, at the end of the day, it's like there's nothing. It's just more bullshit, and it's just more aggressive bullshit. So the bullshit gets harder to do, and then you have to just say, wait a minute, why? I mean, that's where I got to. Maybe I'm 28 now. I graduated because of like the mental health shit, like at 25 or 24 or whatever, and I'm just like, oh no, all that shit was just useless because like you can't. The amount of fucking mental gymnastics it takes to wrap your head around the idea that like the educational system, which you've been embedded in without your choice because you've been That's just your life since you're fucking 6, 5, whatever you start, first grade, kindergarten, preschool. It's just like, oh no, this has to be. Wait, no. I spent $250,000 on bullshit. My family and I just invested $250,000, and I got the degree and I applied to jobs. Like, okay, so I'm applying to jobs after MIT. What do I qualify for on Indeed with a neuroscience degree? Because by the way, I didn't even end up with the aerospace engineering degree. I ended up with a neuroscience degree. So like, what are the jobs that nobody's telling me about? Like, yeah, you're gonna struggle to do anything besides graduate school or medical school, which is really just graduate school for you because medical school is not an option because you didn't do any pre-med classes and you don't want to be a doctor. So you're going to struggle to actually find any level of employment like greater than 5 jobs on Indeed until you, I mean, and it's not really going to get any easier because what are you going to do? Get a PhD and then go into academia, which requires another like couple postdoc positions to actually get into. It's like nobody's telling me that. They're just saying, oh yeah, you're following your interest, following your interest, following your interest, you know. So, let's just fast forward now. So 2015, I'm doing a supply chain management internship at Fiat Chrysler Automotives. And this doesn't even make sense because I'm still thinking that I want to do like space systems engineering, which for the personality typology nerds, that's probably my third function, extroverted thinking, acting up. I won't go into that too much because I don't know who's going to be watching this, but so that summer pushed me into my NI grip essentially for the personality people, introverted and psychology, meaning pseudo spirituality stuff. So because after that summer I went into neuroscience, which is the closest you can get to the typology stuff I was into because of my NI grip. That's the closest option you get. And also, it's like, yeah, did that help you understand typology better? No. Did it help you understand yourself better? No. Did it have any good job options? No. And so then you're just damned to however long you are to try and make your degree work. My degree work with the shit that I was doing. Never fucking. It was like 2.5 years of that. I was like, okay, this is just apparently just not even facade. Because it's not. There's a facade is orchestrated. So people genuinely believe that like test taking and quizzes and homework is actually preparing people for life or work in any regard. It's bullshit that prepares you for more bullshit. And some people just get stuck in that bullshit because they just, they say, all I know how to do is take tests, do homework, and take quizzes. So you can do that for a very long time. I know people who are still doing that. They haven't stopped ever. And they're like my age. So you can keep doing that. But eventually you run out of shit. If something's like, okay, this you run up against either the walls of the bullshit or out of degrees, and then you have to go and get a job. And lo and behold, you don't have any skills because that's not test taking is not a skill. Doing homework is not a skill. Memorizing trivia is not a skill. So people generally believe that taking tests, for example, taking a test on thermodynamics teaches you how to build airplanes, or prepares you how to build airplanes, or is even useful for building airplanes. Not, figuring out thermodynamics or, doing physical research in a lab, which is not what that class was doing. It's just, hey, you solved this fucking math problem, word problem. Same shit you've been doing since like probably middle school or maybe before. So, FCA internship 2015, supply chain management. And this is like another like encounter with an unexpected amount of bullshit because I'm there 3 weeks and I'm just sitting. There's nothing. And people are like, well, why did that like flip you out? Like, why did that like? Because I couldn't move. I couldn't. Even if you don't have shit to do at your job, which that was my job for the summer, you're not allowed to just take it easy. You're just like, yeah, you go in and sit down, but you can't get up and just kind of chill, walk around, just like, take a sit, turn your seat around. It literally, I mean, I'm processing it more now, but like that drives you crazy because you're in there 8 hours a day, just like what I'm not even, it's worse than like, having just you can't play on your laptop because there's people behind you. You're supposed to look the but I'm just sitting there 8 hours a day and I can't fucking move. Like I can go up, walk around. I'm not walking around because like, oh man, I don't want to work on this shit. They didn't give me anything. And I was there for 3 weeks and I would sit in a chair. It's like you're in solitary confinement because you're not talking to people because like other people are either pretending to be busy or on phone calls or yeah, and the supply chain management thing was like, oh, I'm gonna do fucking supply chain management with like space systems engineering based on this fucking paper I saw printed on like a board. It's like, oh, that looks interesting. I can like architect space systems. There's no fucking internships like that. So I ended up in a supply chain management internship in the automotive industry for the summer. Which, and like I said, they just kind of had sat me down. It was nothing. It was like, because I was working at NASA this previous summer. This was after sophomore year, but I worked at NASA between freshman and sophomore. That was still bullshit. That was still bullshit. They had me, but at least I was engaged in bullshit. Now I'm not. Now there's not even bullshit to engage in. So and the crazy thing is like that happens, and then my mental health starts or whatever. Or I just get stressed out or whatever. I wind up in the emergency room, and people say, "Oh, you're in a manic episode." There's not even so as soon as the process starts, they're like, "What's wrong with this person?" Because there's no reason for him to react like that to any situation ever under the sun, under any circumstances. I had nothing like every single time anything is like this. There's never been any self harm, no threats of self harm, no suicidal ideation, no thoughts of suicidal ideation, no fucking. And even if there are, it's like the Bill Burr shit. Like, what if I just jumped in front of a car? Like, wouldn't that be crazy? It's not sort of like I'm not like nothing, never been like compelled or like making moves to like authentically try to end my life or harm myself or anything. Nothing. And it doesn't matter because they just see you and they're like, okay, what's wrong with this guy's like brain chemistry, which we will touch on later. Spoiler alert, it's nothing. But yeah, so I mean you start like they ask you all these questions, but it's scripted questions and because they're working with a belief paradigm that has absolutely no resemblance to actual reality. Um Regardless, this is an obvious situation for anybody with common sense. Saying this to people, so like because I'd say this to people, it's like your comedy, just make it's okay, just kind of dial it in, just make money sitting in a chair. It's like you're paying me to do this for 8 hours a day. Here's the impression. It's just you can't talk to anybody, you can't do anything. Just nothing happened. This happened. I was what would happen is like, okay, I just sat. It's like I can't quit, which I just should fucking quit. But I didn't. But like just getting less stable, obviously, but it's because of an environmental factor, which everybody thinks, at least mental health wise, that like in the mental health field, that there are no bad situations, just like bad people, like shitty, there's no shitty situations. There's just shitty brain chemistries that can be fixed with like lithium or lithium bicarbonate to be more precise, which is like essentially baking soda. And nobody even thinks about that because baking soda is sodium bicarbonate. Lithium bicarbonate is just like maybe it's so close to baking soda from a chemical perspective that it's baking soda. So you could probably make there might be lithium bicarbonate baking soda, but that's the shit that they give people to try and fix bipolar disorder. Sometimes just on its own. That's later though. Where did I leave off? Okay, so now we're in 2015, my first psychiatric hospitalization. Not too bad compared to the next two. That's especially not compared to the third one. Especially because like I'm saying, oh, maybe I can just take this stuff and maybe get off it eventually because like I'm like, no, this is like I'm better. They just immediately put you on medication. And then for the next, I don't know, even like through until I started like going off with the stuff on my own. They're just playing, just throwing shit out there. Let's try this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this. And what happens, spoiler alert, is they just throw shit out enough until whatever happens in the person's life that they actually start to feel better because they change their situation. It's not, there's no fucking way that there are physical solutions, physical chemical solutions. And by physical chemistry, I mean like principles that can be applied in um, physics, chemistry, like the physical sciences, not life sciences, not social sciences, not natural science, oh, sorry, formal sciences. They're on opposite ends of the spectrum. Here's an analogy. The idea that you could treat somebody's emotional state with salts is adjacent to being able to like do um nuclear chemistry with like, or just no, here's a better one. Like doing mass spectrometry on like a distant galaxy using like a pole or like a, you know, some sort of like survey, like a social scientific tool. Like we obviously acknowledge it. Like, yeah, no, you can't really turn off a light with your mind. You can't be thinking like turn off, turn off, turn off, and then the light goes off. That doesn't. That's obviously, oh no, that's pseudoscience. But like the idea that like the same scientific engineering phenomena that are occurring in the light can have an influence on me feeling bad about myself or whatever. That's for some reason reasonable in psychiatry. But yeah, I mean, honestly, of course it's bad because you're not. Well, obviously, here's the other thing. So anybody who's listening to this might be struggling with mental health, and they're thinking about like maybe I should take a stay in psychiatric hospital. They will tell you they will tell you, and by they I mean like paramedics, police officers, etc. Oh, they can't force you to take medication, and then you go in and you get held down and like injected with medication, like day one for some people, not day one for me, but like maybe week 1 or 2 of like my third visit. So I mean that's not, it's just utterly incorrect, and I don't know why they are told to say that, if they actually think it, or how it's even allowed to say that, or how that's even like how that problem has even like occurred, because I don't understand why people, like, I'm not the first person to go through this shit. I may be the first person to just like quit medication cold turkey, and then like as soon as I get out, be employed within a week, you know, in a better job than I've ever had previously, and still off medication, and still doing a good job at work, and still in the job that's better than all the other jobs I've had thus far, and still doing comedy, and still doing improv, and still working out, and still playing basketball, and still dunking, and still beating people in one-on-one scrimmages, and still mentally, physically, psychologically, socially stable. So I don't understand why this persists. Probably because there's no accountability. That might be the case, because it gets like really scary when you think about what happens in these places, and you're like, is this what happens to everybody everywhere whenever anything happens? And the answer is probably no. It's just like the people who go into that system and leave don't want to talk about it because they feel embarrassed, and then, or they're just on medication. They think it's actually working. The system that they just went through is like normal or like expected or like okay, but it's not. And that's probably why it's actually gotten this bad, is because the people receiving care aren't holding the people providing the care accountable, because they think that the care is working, or that they're too embarrassed to talk about their experience receiving the care. So um, care in quotations. And honestly, all of healthcare might be this bad. I don't know. I've been thinking about like all the medical trips that I've had as a kid for like broken bones and like just illnesses. Looking back on it, I don't think any of it was actually necessary. I don't think a single hospital visit that I actually had was necessary, because if you break a bone, unless they're gonna set it, they're just gonna wrap up the like maybe 1,000% more of you than they need to, um, in a cast, and send you on your way. I broke my pinky toe. They put me in a boot, and I was walking on crutches for a pinky toe fracture. put you in a boot for an ankle sprain. They'll put kids in boots for ankle sprains, and then when you're a college basketball player, they just wrap it up and get you back on the court immediately. And your ankle is just as sprained as it was when you were fucking 10, 5, whatever. It's just as sprained as it was. And they had you on crutches when you're actually probably more capable of healing yourself. I mean, that's basic shit. That's basic, like just a fracture. So it's like if they're fumbling the bag, so to speak, on that, I can't imagine that anything else, unfortunately, probably, cancer shit, is any better. Like I don't like the faith that people have in like medical and scientific institutions is frightening. It's just it's not, and it's worse than religion, because having faith in something is fine, but having faith in people who actually make decisions on your behalf, and intuitions, or not intuitions, but like observations on your behalf, and you don't understand any of it, you're just taking everything they say at face value and just like, no, the only way to treat this cancer is to like cut off this part of your body and throw you into like just non-targeted radiation that obviously they say, oh, it's harder on the cancer cells. People are throwing up and can't eat and shit. It's hard on every cell in your body because it's radiation. Chemotherapy, or chemo, it's chemical, whatever. It's like they put radiation, it's like, and just because the scientific papers that the people administering the medication don't even understand, they're just following orders because that's what the standard is in the medical field for this type of illness. And like the people, it's like nobody who actually can break down chemotherapy from start to finish and like why it works, because one person didn't even write the chemotherapy paper, because there's no chemotherapy paper. There's like thousands, if not millions, not probably thousands is a better word, of like chemotherapy papers, each authored by multiple people who each had like a small part in writing that paper. So and then people say like, oh, well, why didn't the chemotherapy cure my cancer? Yeah, but nope, it's like just some medical bullshit, whatever. It's not medical babble, bio babble, whatever. Okay, bit of more of a tangent. 2015 put me on like Depakote and Seroquel. Those were the first two. I don't know. I lost count at a point in time of how many different medications and medication combinations they had me on. And like, this is me on no medication. This is me on absolutely nothing. I would say I'm more just not leaving lucid, because I listen to myself back when I do stand-up sets. I did stand-up sets on probably every single combination of medication I was on, just because I've been doing open mic since like 2014, 2013. And this is just the best I've heard myself sound, not even like in terms of like comedic structure. I still don't know how any of that fuck works, how to structure a joke, how to write a joke. But my speaking voice, there's a lot of other shit. Like my voice is getting stronger. And I don't know if that's because like the job I work at now as a fitness coach has me like literally doing physical exercises and like yelling at people over music and stuff. So maybe my voice is just getting stronger. So that's probably what it is. Might be reading into that too much. I don't want to put too much on it, but yeah, because your voice is a muscle that also works out. Your larynx, whatever. What else? Nobody's here yet. Didn't think so. Yeah, 2015. Back to school. What? Why? I just had a psychiatric hospitalization. Why am I going immediately back to the same shit that contributed? Why the fuck? Parents, nobody has any, it's not just shitty parents. No, I think most, I can't, I mean, I don't know how other parents handle this. I've seen other parents like coming through or hearing what other parents have put their kids in like psychiatric hospitalization for. So maybe it's just, I mean, I don't know. I think most average people are terrible parents. If you're an average person, you're a shitty parent. I don't know what else. Maybe. I don't know. That just might be like a good heuristic. I mean, yeah, because you can't hold your parents accountable. It's unacceptable to hold your parents accountable, hold their feet to the fire. Everybody, for the most part, has to treat their parent as if they're above reproach and the greatest human beings that have ever walk the face of the earth, uh, absent of any flaws, like better than Jesus or whatever. Um, Also insane. Insanity, by the way, is also just like kind of like being out of shape in your body. You can be out of shape with your sanity or your mind as well. Like you have physical and mental fitness, and most people, vast majority of people, are mentally unstable, unfit, and they're relying on like scripts or just parroting back what they think normal people are supposed to do in order to just scrape by spiritually or psychologically. All right, seroquodepical, right back to MIT. Not as no time off, no time. And like I'm trying to get time off like late years later, and my little psychiatrist like, hey, we should just put you on medication and get you through the rest of the year because if you take time off, you're not going to be able to get a job as easy. That's what my psychiatrist told me. So you just know you need to you stay in school, dude, even though you don't want to be here because you can't rationalize. I think we can fast forward at this point. Nothing really happens, and until no, I don't even get hospitalized again until after I graduate. But I do start going like off my medication on my own because like this it just does this fucking because I'm complying already. It's like I already don't want to be on it. I already don't think it's going to do anything. I think I thought this the whole time. It's like no, I don't think it's going to do anything. I experienced it not do anything. And people just interpret your behavior in any way they need to in order to justify you remaining on or putting on a different medication. That I mean, just there's no way out. Nobody, there's nobody who's an actual voice of reason that I encountered. Because the voice of reason, which ended up just being me talking to myself, would have just said, "Hey, dude, um, let's drop all the science shit. Just, dude, you're an artistic athlete. Emphasis on athlete. Varsity basketball, varsity track, varsity awards, awards. Hey, dunking in ninth grade. NBA players. That's like when NBA players start dunking. On average, ninth grade, some as young as seventh, some after ninth grade. You're dunking as a freshman in high school. Fucking national champion in career. Why are you sitting at a desk writing somebody else's research paper on shit you don't care about? But it's too late at that point because it's like, I mean, unless like I do MMA shit, which I could still do. But, basketball is a pretty hard sell. Regardless, the voice of reason would just say, why the fuck are you in a laboratory right now? You've never even been to a science fair. Huh. I mean, because I would have been receptive to this message at any point in time, but I had to figure it out on my own. And the fact that it took 28 years of my life to actually start living it and in a way that actually made sense is tragic. And because I can't get it's like but that's everybody. It's still tragic for everybody. It's probably less tragic for me because I'm actually getting out of it. But like, still, that's everybody's situation. Most people's situation. They're just doing shit they have no business doing, just by chance or whatever. Um, Besides that, yeah. So graduated. Mental health care continues to be bullshit. Switching it in and on and off medications, recombining medications, and I don't feel any change. I don't because I'm fine. I'm fine. I'm not like distraught. I get distraught when shit happens, and then when I actually get distraught about something that I could get distraught about, or would be appropriate to get distraught about, um, people use that as a rationalization that I'm mentally unstable, because everybody who's telling me this doesn't have like ESFP as their personality type. And that's just an artistic temperament. And I'm not even like a very artistic temperament. I've got a, what would you say? Probably like 80th percentile artistic temperament. I'm not like I'm an athlete. I'm as athletic as they come. And right one step down from that, I'm not as artistic as they come. But like that's what happens when I get kind of sensitive or emotional about shit. It's just the same thing that makes people make good art, great art. It's just emotional valence, strong feelings. And, my ENTJ slash, ESFP jumper mom sees me get, kind of pissed off about something. He's like, oh, he needs to be on his medication because that's unacceptable. He can't be feeling that. there's no acknowledgement or like respect for like individual differences on a social level. Just like, hey, maybe this like why can't I feel this way about this? Because they're medicating the feeling. They're not even medicating like me screaming at anybody, not medicating me hitting anyone. They're just medicating me being distraught about something that impacted me negatively in the past. And like that would happen, and they'd be like, "Yeah, you can't feel like that. That's that's too strong of a feeling for on what fucking basis? On what fucking basis? Like, because why can't some people feel more than others sometimes, or most of the time? Why is that? Well, just because that's what the fucking it's craziness. It's insanity on a colossal scale. Graduated 2019. After I took time off, just because I took time off because I saw this coming. I saw this last 2.5, 3 years coming of bullshit. Just like, wait a minute, this isn't gonna work out well. I don't want to do anything. There's nothing that this degree allows me to do that is I have any interest in or any capability in. Because not only am I like starting to take scientific classes, starting to write and read scientific literature, that I'm like, I don't have a skill or interest in this. And I graduate and I'm done with my degree in like a year or two. Huh. And so what happens? You start to lose motivation or rationalization for going to school, going to class, because like, but you're stuck because you already like bankrolled this shit for half a million, $250,000. Some people spend $500,000 on this shit. But yeah, $250,000 trying on this shit, and you're just like, whoa, this is not. This was a bad purchase. It wasn't an impulse buy. Here's the other thing. I didn't flippantly decide any of this shit. I put so much time, effort, and energy into making the correct decision for myself, and I still fucked it up. I couldn't. Took it so seriously. The answer was just, hey, maybe kinesiology degree if you want to at University of Michigan, which you could have gone to for free on a scholarship. No, yeah, that's probably would have been the best thing actually. Because I don't even know the other place I had. I didn't have a full ride anywhere else. I probably would. I would have if I had applied to like University of Michigan was my safety school, and I got a full ride because it was my safety school. Um, yeah, should have just gone there. I could have fucked around there, got a kinesiology degree, and started doing the shit that I'm doing now. Like maybe 6 years ago, would have been a better move. Not that the kinesiology degree would have even prepared me for anything. It would just been kind of just a symbolic gesture. But I'm doing the same shit people do with that degree without it now. So water under the bridge, and more of a testament to the fact that college degrees are bullshit and don't matter, and college is bullshit and doesn't matter. Maybe you can meet people, but if you're not meeting, you're meeting like other people who should be doing other shit. It's not like the best time to meet people. If you are though, just kind of like fucking around, just getting the stamp on my resume that says, hey, this is the career path that I landed on for like good reason, or actually like obvious reasons, common sense reasons. And then you're around those people who are just like, yeah, I'm a high school athlete who wants to kind of be involved in athletics. I'm gonna do a kinesiology program. And you're surrounded by those types of people. College is probably a good time. That's not what MIT was. It's kind of like bitter, toxic people on the basketball team that tried to. Like, I mean, that's the other thing. Like, maybe if I had just been on a better basketball team, uh, could have fixed it. Honestly, I don't know. We'll talk about that later. Idea is that like, hey, I mean, I should have played all 4 years. I'm not saying I got cut. I quit because toxic, bitter, fucking coach, staff, people. Not everybody, but like vast majority is like, oh, these people are just they don't want me here. Like I'm not valued as a teammate, as a player. Like they don't like when I do well, it's not celebrated. I'm either belittled by showing any level of competence, or other people are belittled on behalf of me, my competence rising up and challenging theirs. That's coming from coaches, it's coming from players. So you have no. I was ready to push through like any amount of physical pain. Because that's all I've been doing that my whole life with athletics. I don't nobody like starts playing sports into shape already. So it wasn't it's by no there was no physical amount of, even though when it didn't make sense, which is probably just because like my emotions were like getting involved and like kind of making my throat close up while we're running sprints. I don't know. Maybe I do have it. I did or do have exercise-induced asthma, but it only happens when I get like overwhelmed. Never during a game, only during practice, which is just fucking such a waste of fucking time, just to torture your players to the point where like they don't even register pain anymore. But like maybe they should, because pain is a useful signal to be able to process in your body. Done with that. Improv was fun at MIT. Good people there. Probably because they weren't like super fucking uptight about, or like, identified with their, like, they're just, yeah, I'm doing improv at MIT. It's kind of fucking dumb. Anyway, 2019, graduated, year off. Before that, going on off medication. And people were like, no, hey, you weren't able to do classes because you stopped medication. No, I stopped going to class because this shit was fucking dumb 5 years ago, 10 years ago, and now I'm slowly becoming aware of that fact. Because what I'm doing now in terms of just like not going back into like scientific or like educational shit, is just what I was on the brink of doing at the end of MIT, because I didn't want to finish. That's the other thing. This is like more fucking holding my parents accountable, because I'm obviously in a bad place. I obviously don't want to go back. I'm obviously trying to find other options. Where they're like, you can either go back or work at Home Depot, which is not even like a fair set of options, because I could have done the work that I'm doing now at like a fitness studio, made the same amount of money I was working as a fucking research specialist at the University of Iowa, before I got fired by then, after like 4 months of work. Yeah. The blame was always on me, or just like an imaginary part of me called my brain chemistry that could be fixed with like high levels of synthetic physical chemicals. Never like the relationship, just never my location or role in society, never my space, never anybody. It was all Garrett. It was all Garrett or Garrett's brain chemistry. That was the fucking refrain. That was the motto. Just I was just doing the wrong shit. I had the wrong job at the wrong school, with the wrong people. That's it. 45 minutes in. I think I can wrap this up. Maybe 15 minutes. I don't know. I don't even know how long these things can be. Jesus loves you, bro. Who the Zach Dunbar? When did this get here? No, he doesn't. Fuck off. Dude's fucking dead, Zach Dunbar. Jesus. Why did you think that was going to be impactful? This is distracting. I mean, because now I got to make a whole nother video on fucking religion, every religion. That shit is 2,000 years old. King James Bible is like 1,500. I don't even know when they wrote that shit. It's irrelevant. It's not helpful or useful. That's the other thing, because people will like do the shit Zach Dunbar's doing. Let's just leave this up here so I can roast this nigga. Like, they're throwing like the solution is God. The solution is prayer. The solution is salvation. And they just walk away and jerk off like they fucking helped you. Like this guy, like Zach Dunbar. Useless. Useless. Um, Not helpful. Get a life. Uh, I'm pointing at it now in the live stream. I don't know if it's going to be when this posts. It's probably going to be here. Um, God, that's infuriating. But this is the shit that happens that makes me go like, oh, there's no hope. There's no hope. Because that's what people offer as assistance for somebody who, first off, I don't know if you got the context or you just looked for like 5 seconds and then like left that comment and then went to go beat your wife. I don't know who this person is. I don't like him. Like I'm fine. I'm better now. And that wouldn't have helped me even when I wasn't like this, because that's not that's nonsense. Jesus is dead. There was a dude probably named Jesus. He got killed by the Romans, crucified or whatever, probably, maybe 2,000 years ago. Also, I don't care. It doesn't matter when it happened. He's dead. There's a dude, probably, right? That's what they think historically, but the dude's fucking dead now. He doesn't love anybody because he's dead. And also God doesn't exist. You don't need him. You don't need any of these fucking fairies or spirits to get through life. These like myths, not even myths, just fucking they're fucking fairy tales. You don't need to believe in magic. You just need common sense to just realize, oh, I'll just keep doing what I was doing before. But this is what happens. People go insane trying to figure this shit out because it's impossible, because I barely figured it out. Another thing was like, even looking back, I only really lost control of myself once, and that was like earlier this summer because I was in like this was like the third psychiatric one. I got assaulted physically. So, and that's the first time that's ever happened to me. So, and it wasn't like one on one. If it was one on one, this dude would be dead. I mean, he knew jujitsu, but like I've tapped fucking brown belts. I tapped the brown belt before I was in there. So it's like they needed the 10 people they had in that hallway, because that guy would have been murdered by my hands. If he hadn't had multiple people to fucking, because I got the first shot off. I didn't even know I did because I hit him in the face. I hit him in the face. That's sounds like Dave Chappelle line. And that's the thing, because I hit him in the face, and he's like, "You punched me." I was like, "Did I?" Because he's holding me down. It's like, because as soon as he put me in mount, I was like, I stopped freaking out because like I thought like reality was like deconstructed. It's like, oh my god, I like fucking fractured like existence, and like now everybody's turning into a zombie. And then he got me in mount, like, which is like a jujitsu thing where like your hips are over the other person's hips, they're on their back, and he had my arms pissed, like and he wrapped my legs up. I was like, oh, this guy's Brazilian jujitsu. And I immediately relax, which is kind of wild, because like I'm actually more helpless now than I was before, because I'm on the ground and mount, and like I'm surrounded by people. And it's like, oh no, he just got me. He's just doing jujitsu. This guy knows fucking dude. It's just like that. It's like, okay, all right. And then I'm already trying to be like, okay, maybe I kind of overreacted. I didn't overreact because then I was in there for a month, but tried to like court order me to be on medication indefinitely with like no legal representation. I had to like fucking postpone the fucking hearings in order to get out of that shit. Now I can talk about it on YouTube. But yeah, it's crazy because he put me in mount as like, it's just kind of funny. It's like, oh, he is just doing jujitsu, and everybody else here is just kind of a poser or just like a body. This is the only guy who has any combat experience. I was like, okay. I could probably try and bridge. I could try and get out of this. I could try and shrimp, but we're gonna. I was like, okay, fine. It's the funniest part about that entire experience. Just looking back at it, it's funny. Okay, 2019. I keep going on tangents. 2019, they expected me to change it. No, they must look at me like I speak another language. I've been going off. It's the rest of that Lil TJ song. Shout out Lil TJ, great rapper. Sorry you got shot. Glad you're doing better now. Sorry you got shot multiple times. Just when you were starting to become conscious of the dangers of life in the streets, coming up in New York. You started speaking out against it. Your own past came back on you. How tragic. But you made it through. Still making good music. Still doing better for yourself and your community. All that bullshit. Keep it up, dude. 2019, second hospitalization. Once again, some people just have lower tolerance for bullshit. I don't know what that is, but like I can't because I was probably in that working in this lab. This is like a year after I graduate, 2020. So it's not 2019. Yeah, I graduated in 2019. So this hospitalization happened at the end of 2020. Excuse me. This one, yeah, I got my first job working at a scientific lab in the middle of COVID, or at as COVID starts. Excuse me, start of COVID. Job offers extended as COVID starts. The PI is like, yeah, she'll probably blow over, but we're going to be remote for like a couple weeks, remote for a year, whatever. Yeah, I had no business doing that shit. No business at all. Just fucking clicking away at like fucking cell highlighted cells, just highlighting cells, and just this shit fucking sucks. It sucks, dude. If you're not interested, for maybe even if you are interested, because I think I was working with other ESFPs who were just fine with it or pushed themselves through it or whatever. I don't know. All I knew is that it was fucking awful. And I didn't want to do anything I was assigned to do, but I kept doing it because I didn't think I had another option. Because once again, you can either take this job or work at Home Depot. I was like, yep, we're good parents because we're pushing him out of the house. He's being lazy. He's complaining. Yeah. No, you guys did not set me up for success the way you thought you did. Really just opposite of success, failure. You set me up, and then I started failing, and then you blame me more. Also, my parents have not improved as parents um, since I was born. They might have gotten worse. I don't know. Because you tell your parents, hey, this guy's hurting me, and they're supposed to like, hey, get off my fucking kid. And they're just like, no, he's not hurting you. He's not. They just gaslight you into thinking you're not being assaulted, abused, hurt, and that happened multiple times. Um, and before I was even in first grade, I was like, hey, this dude's physically hurting me. I was like, this lady's physically hurting me and like emotionally abusing me, and this dude's hurting me and emotionally abusing me, and they're like, stop it. No, he's not. No, she's not. Stop it. That was their parenting. And then, fast forward, what, 25 quarter century later, hey, these psychiatrists are abusing me in here. Oh, stop it. No, that you're fine. You're sick. You need to listen. Just okay. Whatever. Love your mom and dad whenever they tell me that they love me. But it's not mutual. And I don't think they do, because if they did, that's not how you treat somebody you actually care about or love. Because I've experienced emotions that I think might be close to love. And also, by the way, if you're feeling these emotions about somebody and you tell them, don't expect a good response, uh, or even like an empathetic response. This is going on another tangent now, but like, I don't know, it's crazy. Anytime I've told someone how I feel about them in a romantic sense, uh, like explicitly, implicitly, anywhere in between, they've responded by like just kind of, best way to describe this, like just, oh, now I can hurt you. Maybe subconsciously, but like it's never like, it's not even like respectful of like the vulnerability that takes. It's just, it's not like a hit. It's just like, oh, okay, cool, cool, cool. And they just kind of use that to like gas themselves up internally. Or either that, or just do as much damage to you as possible. Or maybe a combination of the two. Which is fascinating because it's like, I mean, hey, that's just an expectation because like that I had about like how people should respond, or most people would respond to like that sort of communication, that sort of self like authenticity, whatever. And most people are just, not most people, it's only been like two people so far, but like nobody gives a shit. Nobody cares. I mean, if they do care, it's like, yeah, let's just make him suffer for this. Or I don't know, even I don't know, something like that. The shocking part is that people don't care. They're not even delicate with the response. It's almost like their behavior towards you, me at least in my experience, starts to get more caustic and more painful because like it just gets worse. Like you give them, I feel great about you, and they're like, okay, now I'm gonna make you feel bad as much as possible. I can get into that later, but whatever. Just wildly disproportionate responses in the unexpected variety to just it's just basic human decency. Like you can tell somebody's reaching out to you because they're not in a great place, right? Like one of my Facebook friends that I Facebook friend requested years ago messaged me, "Hey, I've been thinking about you," or anywhere all the way up to like Crazy Town. I've been thinking about you every day for the last anywhere in between that I'd be sensitive to that person's emotional experience and not just callous or caustic with my response. Just out of concern for them as another human being, even if I don't remember who they are, even if I do know who they are, especially if I know who they are, but just regardless, just the basic level of like, oh, wow, okay. It's like how people handle power, I guess, and they can use it, to like hit other people or, whatever with their feelings or with their feelings, whatever. 2019, not 2020, 2020 hospitalization. Yep. Same old drill. Hey, well, you went off your medication, which is a way of blaming me. But the medication wasn't actually doing anything to begin with. Fuck, I hate that comment so much. Jesus Christ. Fuck Jesus Christ. Fuck God. Fuck Muhammad. Fuck all them niggas. I want all the smoke. Um, Fuck Yahweh. Fuck Buddha. Hinduism has too many. Oh, this no, excuse me. Fuck Allah. Fuck Jesus. Fuck God. Fuck Muhammad. Fuck Allah. Uh, who else am I missing? Yeah, Islam gets too much of a pass because some of their adherents are kind of assholes, which is not a good reason to give somebody a pass. Um, yeah, and the reason I'm kind of being this, cavalier will be, you know, made obvious. A couple more minutes. Another tangent. I'm running out of fucking focus. Okay. Well, it's not just it's just fuck America, dude. It's fuck all these institutions. It's not about Muhammad or Allah or Jesus or God or Biden or Obama or Trump. It's fuck institutions. Fuck the fucking things that people hold on to just because they're old and outdated. It's not specific to anybody's institution. If you have an institution, it fucking sucks. If you adhere to an institution, if you have an institution, your institution is garbage. All institutions. It's like, well, does that mean we need to abandon our institutions? Like, where do we go? Yeah, just figure shit out on your own. Because they're not even doing anything to begin with. That's why they suck. That's the reason they suck. All institutions, especially the educational ones. All right. Blah, 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 blah. What else? What else? What else? What else? What else? We got the fucking that one. That one behavioral was like a couple weeks. I think the first two hospitalizations were 2 weeks. Kicked me out. Last one was a month. Third one was a month. Each worse than the last. Aside from that, so pissed off at that fucking comment. And also, he doesn't even have the audacity to stick around and just talk to me. He gets to prop himself up in his own head. Anybody who tells about this fucking bullshit comment, it's like, no, this is, means I'm a good person. It means you're a dumbass. And probably not a bad person. It means you're a dumbass. So maybe, and also, no, just dumbass because you didn't even understand what this video was. So I don't even know who this person fucking is. I hope he's not a subscriber. One of my 50 subscribers. Shouts out to all my subscribers. Okay, keep on going off track because I just want to get all this shit recorded. All institutions, academic, religious, scientific, medical, all of it. Oh my god. Yeah, that one's pretty uneventful. Same. Oh yeah, by the way, in that one, it's like the fucking. That's when I started seeing like, oh, this is like pathological. This is like, these are just shitty people trying to take care of you, trying to take care of all of us in here. The psychiatrist will just curse at you and like verbally abuse you and like be verbally caustic, and you'll say, I don't like this. This is not appropriate. And then everybody else will stare down and like not make eye contact with you or him. I was like, oh, wow, this gets real bad. Whoa. Okay. Wow. Wow. All right. This is just, whoa, this is beyond helping. Shut it down. Shut it down. That's like the Rory Scovel thing he did when he came out and that crowd was like too hype. I have a very good memory. That's like a Rory Scovel thing he talked about on a podcast with Pete Holmes on I Think You Made It Weird. Can find that. Shut it down. Shut it down. Because Pete like grabbed the microphone or readjusted the mic stand and he got a laugh. He's like, oh, these is going to be a good fucking show. Regardless. Yeah, man, I don't remember this guy's fucking name. Some Russian fuck. Not because he's Russian, but just he's a fucking piece of shit. Put me on. I don't even remember the shit he put me on. He put me on some shit because it's the same shit. If they put you on two things, one's Debico Circle, then from there they're just following their scripts. It's like okay, which is just like it's like the improv group I'm in now, which is just like yeah, we've got this kind of outline, but like we fill in the blanks. Like we're gonna do Christmas Carol, but we have like some flexibility. So it's like the Christmas Carol archetype. But it's like we're gonna, mess around within it. So what this guy would do, or what they're doing, all psychiatrists like, okay, you got some wiggle room, and the wiggle room is just randomness because we have this new experimental drug that I can. Their script is like, okay, get him back on one thing and just change a little and see what happens. So he did that, and he put me on something. I could still jerk off, I could still orgasm, but nothing would come out, and that had never happened before. So that was the result because I still felt the same before and after, but he just gave me some other like synthetic physical chemical, and I would masturbate, I would orgasm, but nothing would come out, and I was like, oh, maybe that's just because I'm stressed, from getting out of the hospital. This is after. I don't jerk off when I'm in these places. I'm sure people do. Don't. Well, I shouldn't say don't because I'm not going back in, no matter what. But he gave me this shit. Now he wouldn't jerk me off in the hospital. I think that was about to say. They weren't that abusive. Not yet. They didn't really get that bad, but it was getting sexual later. On the third one. So he would fucking I'm still trying to say maybe he did jerk me off. Maybe I don't remember. He didn't. Regardless. Gave me this shit that like no semen came out when I would jerk off. And it's happened like 2 or 3 times, like, oh, this is the medication. Okay. Wow. All right. And at this point, like, I'm just like fucking doing the bare minimum just because I don't know. Part of me thinks like maybe I do need it. I'm kind of like maybe sort of just like, okay. I never abandoned like getting off this stuff long term. All that happened like this last time. I was like, okay, this is fucking done. But yeah, it's like, and then, just doing the bare minimum, medical wise. Work another year and a half at Boston University, fucking doing bullshit science for nobody that nobody reads or gives a shit about, or is even interesting, or anybody can really understand aside from the PI. Really, scientific institutions are bullshit. Yeah, guys. Here's how science works. You know that like lauded peer review system that everybody likes to cite as like why science works? It's subjective because all you're doing when you write a scientific paper is like kind of like a kind of like a science report you did in maybe science class. It's just longer and more boring and stupid and denser. So you do that, and so that's where all the math goes is on the manuscript that you submit to these journals. And then after that, the peer review process is not objective. They don't like look at the numbers and say, okay, this guys, we can't publish this study. The fucking effect size is negligible. It's we only publish studies with an effect size greater than this measure here. Even that is somebody saying that. Like it's not you can't peer review with a computer. You peer review with like 3 or 4 other scientists who are editors at a journal. They look over the paper and they say, "Oh no, this is good science. This is good science." And sometimes they go, "Oh, no, this is bad science. No, I cannot. No, this cannot be published in Nature. This is bad science." And sometimes they go, this science has promise. We need to submit our reviews to the authors in order to improve their science." But it's just dudes reading the paper going like, this figure could be a bit better. I don't like the way they worded this. I think they should just don't be so flowery. Just they're editing their writing some of the time. Sometimes they'll edit it and be like, you know what, you're writing this kind of like too poetically. Just let the science do the talking. Just like let the fucking science just kind of just talk for you. It's just it's subjective because it's 3 dudes and like maybe an editor of Nature or wherever fucking or Science or whatever fucking journal. By the way, the fucking titles for these journals is so uncreative. It's astounding. Science, Nature, right? Because it's science. It's just ugh. Anyway, so yeah, they do the scientific. Yeah. I know how I said like Islam is fucking. I feel like Islamic extremists like they can like I feel like I can say like fuck Islam and they're like okay, dude. But if I said like fuck Muhammad or fuck Allah, they're like, which doesn't make any sense because Islam, like Muhammad and Allah, are fucking contained within Islam. So shouldn't you get more reactive if I say fuck Islam, fuck Christianity? How about this? Fuck religion. Because how about not even Abrahamic religions? Not fuck Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Fuck religion. Oh, shouldn't that be pissing off everybody? Because people hear that like, oh, well, they're not talking about mine. Talking about anything you could possibly subscribe to. So regardless, last okay, stop get the tangents down. Fuck. How we doing on time? Gotta go into work soon. Kind of running out of time. Holy shit. Speed run. Let's see how long this bus route's gonna take because I probably gotta head out soon. Holy shit, man. I gotta be in because my time got moved out there. So I should be able to head out real but I just to make actually still make it, I'm gonna put in the bus route that I need to take. And that's the great thing about live streams is that you can actually do them and multitask at the same time. You can work on your accents. You can fucking uh, plan out your bus routes. Oh, this is fine, mate. I think I'll be perfectly fine if I just take this one, set a reminder. I've got to head out in about 20 minutes, so speed this up. Jesus still doesn't fucking love me, Zach Dunbar, you fucking cunt. Where'd I leave off? Another tangent. Other right. And that job is worse than MIT in terms of stress. Not everybody, but the PI was a piece of shit. Principal investigator guy who ran the lab, piece of garbage. Started becoming less garbage as I finished up because we told him you're a piece of garbage. And he was like, "Oh, I'm a piece of garbage." And then, but he was still a piece of garbage when I left. You know, giving me good reviews, like employee reviews, 2 solid, like most solid review I got was like, he's really improved. He's doing great. Second review is like, he needs some work. But like, okay, I've been here longer. I'm doing more work better, but I'm getting a worse review. It's like, okay, fine. Hey, can you give me Letter of recommendation, sure, Garrett, no thing. Hey, how did my recommender recommend me from my last job? Oh, he said he never wanted to work with you ever again. But I asked him if he could give me a review for this job. Did he think I was asking him to shit on me? Was I not clear about how? Does he not know? Wait, maybe because he doesn't know how reviews work in employment situations. Like you don't, like if somebody asks you for a review and you don't, it's like, no, I didn't have a good experience working with you. Say like, hey, no, I don't think you should ask me to be a reviewer. If you say yes, the subtext, Jerry, is that you're actually gonna give a positive review. Was that like what? Maybe he didn't get that. Yeah, so piece of shit. What else? What else? So that happens. Just caustic, fucking toxic human being the entire fucking time, and everybody else is fucking fine. I don't understand how like the fucking people at the top of whatever professional setting I find in are always the not because of their role, but just as people are the worst people in the setting. Everyone at the top is the worst. Everyone who's in charge of everybody else is the shittiest person. 2 out of 3, 3 out of 3 times. Crazy. What else? Shitty person. Everybody else is just kind of trying to deal with them. Just doing science nobody cares about that we can't understand, that maybe he doesn't understand, that unrealistic expectations abound. Iowa, University of Iowa. Yeah, this resume looks good. Hey, dude, why can't you do this shit that wasn't on your resume? Okay, because I have never done it. But I'll try and improve. I'll work extra hours. I'm working extra hours. You're fired. Okay. 4 months in, fine. This shit was just as dumb and painful. Actually, worse. Because I was just getting bit by mice like every other fucking week. Because I'd never worked with mice before. PI there was paranoid about the government watching him to the point where like people couldn't hold up their phones like this to like read some shit off an email during meetings because he thought like the NSA had like hacked their phones and was recording him. Like really thought that.
Leave now. The 16 downtown departs in 9 minutes.
What do you think? Baffling. What? Okay, well. What are we looking at here? This is so vastly confusing. I guess I gotta cut this off. Damn. All right. Is this right? What the fuck? Looks like it because it said.
Now. The 16
Shut up.
downtown departs in 9 minutes.
That's not what it said before. Anyway, that's been the live stream. Stay tuned for part 2 where I talk about my fucking third one and how shitty that was. Peace.